What's that? I'm still
Sebab dia masuk
Participant. Jadi,
Oh, adding
Jadi kita hold dia orang kat sini semua sebelum all the speakers come in.
they're mute by default coming in.
Alright, okay. Right, I will mute my microphone as well, Dato. You can start.
So is it on?
Yes.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good morning all.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi.
So welcome to our first forum on the FTD USM Career Dialogue 2020 with the title The COVID-19 Impact in the Operations of Food Industry, Challenges and Solutions. So how is everybody? I'm feeling like a DJ of a radio now. So to start, I'm going to say thank you to the Dean for supporting this and Deputy Dean Dr. Yusri just now, and all panels for agreeing to take part, and food tech academicians, and of course the participants, all the students for joining us, making this morning more entertaining. First of all, we're going to do to kick off the ball rolling. I'm going to introduce the panels one by one. It's going to be a brief introduction. The first, our super senior, our ICAP member. ICAP for the student is USM Industry Advisory Panel. Dr. Razam of the Latip, well known among us. I'm sure you have heard about him. He is now a principal engineer with a doctorate in food and enzyme biotechnology, MSc in Bioprocess Engineering from UPM, and Bachelor of Engineering from UTM. Yeah, so he's now Principal Engineer in Sime Darby Research. 27 years of experience, yeah, in palm oil. So anything about palm oil, Dr. Razam will cover. Okay, Dr. Razam is our super senior, and then we have a senior with us. We have a very impressive guy, Dr. Wong. Dr. Wong, say something. Are you okay? Yes,
Hello.
Dr. Wong is there. Dr. Wong Shiung, our graduate, our alumni. He has amazing, impressive industry and academia experience, 15 years on innovation projects and new product launching. He has been working with now Global Ingredients Technology Manager as Texturants, Tate and Lyle, yeah, in Singapore, Dr. Wong? Singapore, yes? All the way from Singapore. So he has amazing career with him. He graduated in 2005, first class honors, our food technology program, of course, and then he did PhD with NUS in 2011. Yeah, and then we have emerging player, Syamimi. Where are you, Syamimi? Say something. Ini?
Hi everyone.
Syamimi did final year project with me. I don't know, she applied this ozone thing and then she killed the sugarcane juice, if I can remember. Okay, so Mimi is our alumni, graduated 2014, more than 5 years experience in 2 different companies. Now she's holding the position of customer relation expert in Cargill. That's correct, huh?
Yes.
Cargill Holdings Malaysia Sdn Bhd. She manages customer and internal stakeholders' requests on food quality, on food safety, and regulatory compliance. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so welcome. Are you calling all the way from London or New York? And finally, we have not least, yeah, we have what I called him just now, our baby. Jesmund, where are you? Jesmund.
Yes, I'm here. I'm the baby of the team.
So Jesmund, 1 year in Kerry now. He is a graduate management trainee starting in February. So he's new, and best of luck to him. Okay, so we are ready to start off with a question to our panels. This question is directed to everybody. Okay, I want from alphabetical order. I want everybody to speak about their career path, the history. Tell us the story of how you end up being where you are now. Can you recall the time when you were deciding between working or between studying? Some of you decided to study, some of you decided to jump straight into industry. Some of you having issue of choosing between employer A versus employer B. I think many of our graduates soon will face this scenario. Perhaps your story will help them. So, alphabetical order. Who start first? Jesmund. Yes.
Yes. Okay. There wasn't really much of a choice for me in that sense, whereby I actually used up all my money on my third year, summer holidays, for traveling, of course. So going into my fourth year, I literally had no money. So basically, it's work or die for me. So, but really grateful that Dr. Hayati was actually there to kind of recommended me this job. So yeah, and I've been here now for a year. I just celebrated my first year anniversary this month. Just joined exactly. I think it was 15th of July last year. Yeah, and I'm
All right.
very happy.
You're a commercialization specialist now, yes?
Correct. It's it's upscaling. It's the downstream processing of the entire new product innovation process.
All right, we can talk about that later. Dr. Razam, your some history, please.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much to Food Tech for inviting me. So if talking about history, my history is very long history. Total experience is 30 years now. I graduated in 1990. As you know, it's not a food tech. I'm a chemical engineer basically. So I started my career with non-food. I started my career with Malaysian shake glass at Sungai Buloh at that time. So making automatic glass.
Wow.
So after 1.5 years, I moved to Golden Hope Plantation, meaning research department in Golden Hope. So that initially I started with QA. It's not really doing R&D. So they give me the first job is on QA to basically apply all the oil mills, refineries, and also other food processing for quality management system. ISO 9001 at that time.
Wow.
So I have experience actually in implementing and developing quality management system. I also certified internal auditor for ISO 9000. So after that, company also want me to develop a food safety system for the manufacturing side. Then after 3-4 years doing QA, then only I doing R&D in palm oil processing. So I started with product development actually. So develop a new product like a low sulfur, balanced oil, healthy margarine, and so on. And I also have a chance to work in overseas in South Africa for 2 years. So because at the time Golden Hope buy a new refinery in South Africa from Unilever, so Unilever take all the R&D people from the factory, so they don't have R&D. So they send me to develop R&D department there, set up a new department there, and also provide technical support to marketing in South Africa. So I have 2 years experience in South Africa. Then coming back here, I continue my product developments, and I also have experience in running vitamin E plant from PFAD. I take about 1.5 years. Then I moved to technical advisory, where currently I'm at. So my job function is basically to provide all technical support to Darby refinery, and also develop new technology for Darby. I think that's the shortest one.
So after 30 years, I think your experience is complete, yeah?
Yeah. So I have all the, in terms of palm oil processing, I have product development, technical marketing, processing, everything, QA, food safety. So I think it's complete, almost complete.
Yes, complete. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Razam. Next, we go to Mimi.
Okay.
Tell us history.
Okay, so I'm Mimi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can click. We can hear you.
Okay, I'm Mimi. I graduated from USM in 2014. I was major in food technology, and I started my first job in Abbott 3 months after I graduated. So I thought of continuing my study, but I did not have like clearer vision of what I want to pursue. And when I observed job market in Malaysia, I decided to have at least few years working on experience and build a strong foundation before I continue to study, which I have a plan maybe next year or next 2 years. And for my first company is Abbott Laboratories, which is in Glemery as a regulatory affairs assistant. And that job actually not even a permanent or 1 year contract job. It's like 4.5 months contract job, replacing someone on maternity leave. But I decided to took the opportunity because I needed to start somewhere in the food industry. So I just took it, and it was an eye-opening experience because truthfully in university you don't really know how to read the regulation much. So when I joined this, I know how to read, I know how it was made, when and which parties are involved in the process, and what the things that you can say or cannot say in the advertisement, especially when you deal with infant or follow-up formulas. There's a special set of regulation that you need to take into account. So it's really an eye-opening. And then after that contract ends, HR proposed me to go to Abbott Diagnostic. Previously, it's Abbott Nutrition. So I go to Abbott Diagnostic. It's totally out of like food industry. But I took the opportunity also because I don't have any job offer and I need the money. So
It's all about money, yeah.
and then like it was only a 6-month contract, and then they extended to 3 months. And even though I was like very disappointed in myself, I didn't get to work in the food industry at that time. But I promised myself to learn as much as I can be positive, give my best, and it turns out very well for me. So good attitude goes a long way. So remember that. And after the contract ends, my manager still wants to extend, but I decided I want to go back to food industry. So after the contract end, I applied to multiple company. So I got some interviews and I managed to get offer from Cargill, which is my current company. And at that time, my position is as a technical service assistant. And that time, the offer is much better. It's 1 year contract. And my job is like more to application based and kind of like some of the R&D also. And I work with Cargill cocoa and chocolate department. So yes, I made and ate a lot of chocolate muffins. Again, like 6 kg. So I love working in the lab. It's like new experience, and I can recall back what I learned in university, and also got to learn with technical service specialists. Some of them specialize in dairy, confectionery, bakery. So like from this experience also, I become better consumer. Because you know what happened in the market, so you can choose better product. And in 2018, I got a bad news that Cargill application lab will be closed and they will move to Singapore. So I foresee that I will get laid off anytime. So I go applying multiple jobs and also go for internal interview. And I got offer for my current job now. And I love my job. It's tough, challenging, and it's totally out of my comfort zone. And the environment is totally different because previously I'm only sitting in the lab. So now I have to like brush up my social skill, and I need to cover more product, not just cocoa and chocolate, but more product like starch, derivative, and texturizer. So I need like to learn a lot of product and absorb as much as I can. So, and from this experience, I am more confident and clear on what I want to be in the future. And basically, my job is manage and support day-to-day sales and customer requests regarding food safety. product quality, regulatory compliance, and I cover most of the product produced in Cargill all over the world for customer in Asia Pacific and sometimes from other continents also. And for regulation, I not only need to equip myself with Malaysian regulation, but also the rest of the world. So that's why I say I need to learn a lot and as fast as I can to do my daily work. And I can see that this job provides great exposure for me as a food technologist. I think that's all for me.
Thank you, Mimi. So for a chocolate eater, you don't look like one.
Oh, I already reduced my weight.
Great. All right. Finally, Dr. Wong, tell us.
Thank you, Prof. So first of all, thank you, Prof. Azila as well as Prof. Azhar for actually inviting me to this dialogue session. So I'm very grateful that I can actually give some of my opinion and share some of my background and experience. So myself actually graduated in 2005. That was like 15 years ago, long time ago. Actually, I just reflect back. So after I graduate, actually at that point, I started to aware and I started to know that I wanted to do research. So it is actually not a very easy path or actually something very easy because as some of you may already aware that being actually in research in R&D is actually not going to pay us big money actually. But anyway, because I have the interest, I know I wanted to do that. So I started with actually as a research assistant when I in USM actually when I wanted to look for other opportunity to further my study. And eventually I found an opportunity in Singapore. So I started my PhD over in Singapore. And after in my PhD, I still realized that I am interested in R&D because a lot of people, they realize it's a very challenging path and some of them, they lose faith throughout the process. So as just now, like what Mimi was mentioned, during almost towards the end of my PhD study, I know that I need a job, I need money. So at that point, I realized that as long as I get an offer on anything, as long as it is within my interest, I will take it. So after immediately after I graduated, actually I finishing writing my thesis, I started to be a lecturer in a local institution. So it wasn't a very perfect job, but as many of you maybe would understand or agree, we have to start from somewhere. So as a lecturer, I realized because I also like to share ideas, I like to talk sometimes, I like to teach. So that is actually a life that's good for me. And at the same time, I also get to do a little bit of research. But slowly, after a few years, I realized that I have to spend more time on the teaching rather than the research part. So it is again, sometimes it's the balance, and at certain point, we have to understand what is the best for us. So at that time, there is a job recruiter came to me and then asking me if I'm going to look for an opportunity outside of teaching in a commercial world. So I guess probably that was the time that I think that I wanted to try something. It is still R&D. I know that I am still going to do something I like, but it is no longer in an academia setting, but moving towards a commercial setting. So I joined Abbott Nutrition. So there was one point I just realized that I'm a colleague of Mimi. So, but that I'm based in Singapore. So it is actually a scientist position doing a R&D on infant formula. So Abbott gave me a good opportunity and good eye-opening experience to me to see what is how is R&D being carried out in the commercial world. So I got the opportunity to also base in overseas for about 5 months to sort of exchange technical ideas to bring solution to the local R&D site, R&D facility. So that was about in end of 2015 and early 2016. So after that, when I back to Singapore again, another job recruiter came to me and asking me another new opportunity, which is my current organization, Tate. So it is, my current organization is a food ingredient company, and then we have a few ingredient. For example, we have our starches, fibers, sweetener. So my current role is actually more involved into starches, and I am actually leading global ingredient technology, which is we wanted to know the value proposition of our ingredients. We wanted to address the challenges by our customer, which is our food, which is the food manufacturer, and we want to provide the solution based on value of our ingredient to our customer. So basically, that's my background. Thank you.
Oh, wow. So you were headhunted several times, yeah?
Yeah.
It was very impressive. You are industry technologists. You've been academicians, and you're also an avid photographer. Yes.
Oh yeah. As a hobby.
When I grow up, I'm going to be like you. Anyway, let's go to the real issue why we are here. I'm going to again, start a question about this the pandemic, the COVID-19 issue, how it will affect industry. As brief as possible, panels can describe to the participants. So these are the general issue. Yeah. How is the current COVID-19 situation in relation to respective industry? The supply chain agility, how soon food supply chain react to ensure continuous supply? New norms and SOPs were introduced. What are the impact of these SOPs on your organizations? Another question is, how was the planning department in the food industry adapting to the new norm during this or after the MCO periods? So based on your experience, again, it's going to be alphabetical order. Jesmund, you first.
Okay, where do I begin? So let's talk about supply chain. I don't think the supply is an issue for now, at least in the case of Kerry. Honestly, I think the stock is actually not moving as much right now, and there will also be manpower issue because of how the government they want us to cut down our manpower by 50%. So at least right now we have to have a lot of sharing of manpower between different lines and stuff, right? So in that sense, our volume also has definitely dropped. And when it comes to supply chain planning, a lot of them have to, be a lot more flexible when it comes to doing their planning, and they have to, propose to use their old stock first, and even right now, right, there's a new policy saying that every production that is actually planned actually needs approval from, managers, so that, we wouldn't waste any of our raw materials as well. So when it comes to the raw material sourcing, it shouldn't, at least so far right now, they have not faced any issue lah. So their solution right now is to, whenever there's a lockdown in certain areas or countries, right, they will actually use that rate to send it as quickly as possible to this region, and then so in that sense, the supply actually is not an issue for now.
Okay.
Mhm.
Dr. Razam.
Okay. Talking about COVID-19, basically, I think you know that we now in the phase of still PKP, until 31st August, right? So let me take this opportunity to explain to you on what is palm oil industry in Malaysia, basically. So I think palm oil industry is one of the biggest industry in Malaysia. I think Malaysia is very what you call that bersyukur lah, because we have two big industry. One is oil and gas. The other one is golden crop is from palm oil. So in terms of GDP, total GDP is 3.6% is from palm oil. So in terms of commodity sector, palm oil provide about 58.3% of commodity of GDP from commodity. So basically, in terms of value, last year, palm oil contribute about 64.8 billion in terms of volume. So it's about 51%, 51.6% of total export of commodity and commodity-based product. So palm oil, I think, is classified as essential item. So that not much restriction during COVID. But if you see at at every stages of palm oil supply chain, starting from the seed production, I think during COVID we cannot move the seed, we cannot sell seedling. So a lot of replanting program in the estate is being postponed. So in terms of estate labor, I think there is a lot of shortage because palm oil industry is still using a lot of foreigners. So mana yang tak ada lesen tu kena tangkap lah. So all yang ada permit saja still on. But in terms of FAB process, according to MPOB, the amount of FAB process, the fruit from bunches, fresh fruit bunches, increased by 18.7%. Even increase. Even we have shortage of manpower, but the production is increased. So in terms of fertilizer application, we don't have much manpower, so we have to delay. So there is an impact after that lah, because pokok tak cukup makan, then after 2 or 3 years, there is a reduce in yield. Similar to the pest control, so there is not much manpower move around during MCO, so we cannot control the pests.
I see.
And in terms of oil mills, I think it's operate like normal. Only we have to reduce about 50% of manpower, so we need to rotate among the operators. So to, similar to the refineries, initial MCO, we have to reduce the manpower about 50%, but the production is still going as normal, 100% capacity. Only the manpower is reduced. So even all executives work from home. Like myself, until today, I work from home. So only when necessary we go to the office. All meetings, if not very critical, we still conduct online. Like seminar also, we have to conduct online, training, everything. So as you know, palm oil, there is two parts. One is for food application. The other one is for non-food application like oleochemicals. So oleochemicals also, there is strong demand for sanitation, sanitary product like hand sanitation. So there is a lot of demand because people now want to use every day. But for biodiesel, I think there is a reduction because a lot of country being locked down, so we cannot move our product. And they use, like Malaysia also, during MCO, the petrol price is reduced until 125, 1 ringgit 25 cents because people cannot move.
Really
People
good,
cannot using it. So minyak murah pun tak boleh nak pergi mana kan. Okay, so in terms of export, like China also lockdown, Italy also lockdown, Spain lockdown, so our product cannot move. So only now when the country is open, there is a lot of demand.
Yes.
So we are starting pick up now. Also in terms of CPO price, I think now it's already increased more than 2,500 compared to early before MCO. During Pakatan Harapan, sorry.
Oh dear.
So now is everything back to normal.
Right. Okay, great. So not all down, not all up.
Yeah.
Some things are down, some things are up, depending on the situation. Some people are getting richer during
Yeah,
this.
right.
So some people get poorer. Okay, next we go to Mimi.
Okay, so for the supply chain, disruption in Cargill global supply chain has been limited, so fortunately, and most of our facility remain operational, and we are trying our best to minimize any service disruption, and we also work with the individual customer to resolve any service disruption efficiently, and we are trying to continue to monitor and adapt our contingency plan as needed. And we are trying to align with the WHO and also local government around the world to maintain the highest food safety and also continuous supply. So like what Dr. Razam say, like there's also, and also Jesmund say, like slow moving stock, and what to do, we cannot force the customer to buy also. So so we have to respect the customer and just do what we can to maintain our operation. I think that's all from me.
All right. Thank you. Dr. Wong, are you there? Dr. Wong?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, okay, great. Can you just share with us your industry experience regarding this supply chain during SOP in Singapore, maybe?
Yes. So for us, because we have different location with our plant as well as our customer also located in different area region. So we have to have different type of plan and different type of action to how to address to this. So firstly, because the pandemic or the wave came to the Asia, particularly in the region of China and subsequently to other region. So by the time that we realized that it is a very safety, we call it, because safety is something very important to us. So because this affect the safety of our employee, and the leadership team already started to implement, for example, not going to the office unless it is necessary, starting from China. Then we have different type of plan in place. We assess the level of the situation happen in each location or each office across the globe. So each area will have certain, we call it business continuity committee, and this committee will be responsible for the action and then to how to react based on local regulation as well. For example, if the local numbers of the cases already getting better, I mean like currently, they will advise what to do. So at the beginning, because a lot of our raw material, we are actually nearby or within our manufacturing facility because we produce the ingredients. So those raw material, those agricultural raw material are actually not far away. So that is actually for us is still manageable. And one of the things that I guess some of you would also realize is that after this pandemic, a lot of those observers or those commentary people, they already started to mention that our global type of economy actually sort of shifting to a little bit of self sustained or actually self-regulated, because now that a lot of the borders are actually closing, a lot of those well, I mean, of course, for the goods, for other products, and to move across border is actually easier. But still, for example, early stages, as we know, those hand sanitizer, those gloves, even though it's not related to my industry, but still, this type of product, this type of goods are very lacking at the beginning. So at that stage, then a lot of region, a lot of country, they started to think, even for food material as well, for food ingredient, is there any possibility that we do a little bit of self contingency plan instead of rely on import export? So that is something that I realized after this pandemic. A lot of those leadership team, they started to think of how they can adapt or how they can move towards that direction. So I guess similarly, like what Dr. Razam already mentioned early, nowadays most of the organization, unless it is crucial or necessary, it is recommended to stay home, reduce movement, and unless for the plant operation that are unavoidable, then those employee has to go into the plant. But with a lot of safe distancing and a lot of operational preparation, which I think we will cover subsequently.
Oh, great. So it is unprecedented time. Yeah, you guys have to be really, really, be careful about it, because you don't want to have trouble with the COVID-19. And you also do not want to have trouble with the government. Okay, to the students, we will have the question related to the careers and job prospect at the end, yeah? So hang on there. Next, we're going to ask only Dr. Razam, because he is the most senior here. Regarding the demand of the sub industry, is it true during these pandemics, the production people are the busiest, and the R&D personnel are people who do less in the industry? From your experience in the palm oil, is it true?
It's not true actually. It's also busier than the production. Okay. Now, there is a new demand or new requirement from customers, and also new norm that we need to adopt for production. For example, like Syamimi, we are going for the IR 4.0 to minimize all the contamination, easy operations. So we are developing a smart refinery. Okay, so we're going to have all the big data historians analyze it, doing a modeling or predictive modeling to ensure that the operation is running smoothly. So we want basically customer order online. Just one button click, so we can meet all the demands. So we need to have the whole system actually for production, for operations, starting from raw materials, processing, daily planning, shipment, logistic, and also accounting. So at the end of the month or at the end of the year, so all reporting, monthly reporting is already there. So you don't need to have another person collect all data and prepare the technical report or monthly reports. So I think R&D is very important all the time, especially during COVID. We need to find new ways, new methodology to face the COVID. Yeah.
Okay, Dr. Wong, you want to comment anything on this?
I think it depends on different industry. So I guess for my customer and even for ourselves, a lot of customer, because they are restricted to go into the office. Yeah. So the R&D, new product developer in the customer and those food manufacturer, they are slowing down their new product development. So some customer, they took the opportunity because they have certain plan already in place. So they wanted to see if those new opportunity able to seize something, to capture something in the market at this moment. So for example, a certain new product that target in the shelf, in the supermarket, those are something that they wanted to take this opportunity to launch it. But it is all depends on their strategy, because at this moment, some of our customer that involved in that in the food services is very challenging, because nowadays everyone stay home, nobody wants to go to restaurant or any food service type of facility. Whereas for those that produce product in the supermarket, those are on the shelf is actually better for them. So which is true the case for me as well. During the past 3 months, it's actually quite busy for me, even though I stay home. But every day it's just like people keep on meeting, keep on talking on the project. But somehow it get a little bit slowed down until this point. But because things are open up again, and then the curve is going up again, the workload. So I guess it's all depend.
Yeah, I think when we work from home, actually we are work longer than actual hours.
Yes.
Yes, that's true. You just sit in your bedroom. All right, so it depends on the type of industry, yeah. Okay, guys, so we are in the middle of the forum. Next question for Dr. Razam and Dr. Wong, maybe. The operations, the sourcing of material as part of the challenge. How hard was the logistics? How did you guys manage?
Yeah,
Raw materials.
for the non-core product like servicing, like maintenance, like parts, is very difficult during that time. So we need to hold a lot of works during that time. But for our raw materials, I think there is not much problems because our estate is operations like normal. So our oil mills is producing the crude palm oil like normal. Refinery is also normal. So there is not much issues in terms of the main products. Only the support service we have a problems.
Great.
Yeah.
So actually for us, I mentioned some of so it is important to get close to our raw material. So like Dr. Razam mentioned, we have to have the facility or plant to be close to the source of the material. So we have that. The challenge part is only after after you manufacture the ingredient of the product out of the plant, then how to get the product shipped to the customer. So one of the things is that we at the early stage we already alert our customer that for those order that it will take longer period to reach them, and then for a lot of ways that we are trying to also negotiate with it depends on certain logistic company as well as logistic movement. So there are a lot of the negotiation involved and try to get the best out for everyone. So I think that is the way that we realize that planning is important. So planning ahead of time and how to negotiate and partnership with people with different people from different background, but look for the same common goal, which is try to get certain things done. So that is something that is very important.
So you guys actually help each other.
Yeah.
Okay. This question is for everybody. I just want everybody to give examples of operational changes that you have applied during your, lockdown and all that, and whether how difficult was it to practice social distancing during this operation in each industry. We can start with Jesmund.
I guess the very main difference between pre-COVID and now is that because our research center is actually in Singapore, so usually whenever there's MPI trial runs, we call it, the scientists themselves will come over. But then now because the border is actually closed, so they can't really come over. So there's definitely a lot of ownership right now on the commercialization team. So in that sense, it's also a very big reality check for the industry itself, because initially I thought just for them to come over for a day trip, spend so much time and effort and also money and resources to get to a place to look at your own product is a little bit of a waste. So I would think that it's a good reality check for the industry to focus on what is truly essential to the business, and from there reduce a bit of waste.
Okay, Dr. Razam, any example from?
Yeah, okay. As I mentioned just now, for COVID, we need actually new technologies or IR 4.0 is most important now. It's a time for us to implement IR 4.0. Okay, Like for example, like we want to conduct training also now we cannot face to face, so we have to use a web seminar or whatever like we are doing now. So like fresh graduate, when you come out next time, you make sure that not only as a food technologist, you also must have other skills like IT skills and also technology skill, IR 4.0, big data, and everything. And also you need to learn the skills so to ensure that you are survive in the industry. So, right.
Thank you. Mimi,
Okay,
any
so
example from your side? Yes.
one of the changes that we offering a shift facility for the operation team, so we can keep our major production facility to run efficiently. So all of these are managed by the crisis management team. And also we also make schedule for the office people, so not everyone will come to the office, and the rest will still working from home.
Right. Dr. Wong?
So for our production plan, because that we have to get it continue, so we have a lot of SOP in place. So new sanitizing rules, new personal protective equipment, and we also implemented a split team. So there will be two teams, and then these two teams, they are not come close to each other. So for example, like alternate week or alternate day depends on the suitability of a different site. So that would be something about operational change. And I guess mindset, mentality, so that is also important. Being versatile, being able to accept the new changes and being open to it. So that is something because from the operational side, from the management side, there's always a plan. But how us react to it, how we accept to it, and how we actually can work together to get it done successfully. So those are the mindset, and those are the adaptability that we are looking at. So these are the important points.
Okay, great. Okay, next question is all about fear. I remember we were so afraid when it happened, right? In Singapore, the same, in Malaysia, the same. But all at the same time, some staffs are required to go to work. How do you do this? How do you ensure the safety of the operation staff if they need to work during the pandemic season? We start with Jesmund.
I think Dr. Wong just now has mentioned most of it already. Like the fact that I'm actually wearing a mask right now in a meeting room alone is one of the safety measures, of course. But also there's temperature check before and after work. A lot of them are non-essentials people that can just work from home, and then like group team A, team B kind of a thing to separate the social distance.
You mean it's the similar measures in your industry?
Yes, very similar. Yes, a
Very
lot of things are done
similar,
virtually. And we have to fill in health declaration form. You want to go to a new plants and stuff. Yeah, so a lot of those things.
Right. All right, number 2, Dr. Razam.
Yeah, basically now following the SOP is most important now. So all industries or all field, even if you want to go to the mall also, there is a SOP. So you need to follow the SOP to make sure that there is no contamination and so on. So like palm oil industry, normal SOP when before they going or entering the premises, there is a temperature checking, make sure there is no fever and everything, then only they can enter the refinery. So in the refinery also there is a proper SOP. They have to wear PPE and so on. Right?
Okay, Mimi.
Yeah, I think most of the industry following the same SOP. So upon arriving to the office, of course, we have to take the temperature, and then wearing masks and PPE, have a cleaning and sanitizing procedure, and also be prohibiting visitors. banning international and domestic travel, and adapting social distance and offering shift flexibility. And at the same time, if like we have a employee that's suspected with COVID-19 symptom, we urge them to contact the local health authorities immediately and quarantine themselves as soon as possible. And we also have like a website that will be updated continuously to provide guidance and update related to the pandemic.
Okay, so we feel more assured if they follow all this SOP.
Yeah.
Wong, is your answer the same?
Yes, quite similar. So one more extra point for us is that because we also, besides safety that's important, we also realize that respect. So respect is also one of our important quality or important values. So when it comes to respect, in this case, it is mutually. So which means that the management as well as the employee. So just now, like Prof, you mentioned about if employee has concern or they worried if whether they should go to the plant or they should go to work for various reasons, then there is a level of so-called internal counseling or internal ways that the managers or even to a broader group people that we can sit down and discuss together. So those are the ways that if really are unavoidable, then probably there will be other measure or other changes that can be looked into it. So we do realize that I mean, like all of us probably that we went through the process is like we realize that we are actually trying to work, and then we are not just because we are working as normal anymore. So that is something that also important, and the mental well-being of our employees is also very important at this stage. So we do look into that cautiously.
Okay, thanks, Dr. Wong. Okay, good. Next question is all about consumerism. You know that during this pandemic, food was defined as an essential industry. Some people say certain food is good to have food. Some people say certain food is essential. Now, how do you guys decide what is good to have and what is truly essential food? Okay. If just for Dr. Razam and Dr. Wong, please. Dr. Razam first.
I think generally you can classify essential food or goods like what you need every day, like rice, fish, oil. Without oil, you cannot eat, right? There is no taste on the product. I think frying is very important. So everybody need cooking oils. Then
Give an example of good to have.
good to have. I think like people are not eat bread every day. So I think, but like Gardenia, they sold out. Everyone want to eat bread.
Yeah. People were fighting for bread. Oh my God. I mean, the bread was essential. It depends on individuals, right?
Depends.
Yeah, it depends on individual. Dr. Wong, you have a comment on this?
Yeah, so actually, the first thing that came into my mind for good to have, so you will realize that I think there is a study, a very rough study, because people rush to do those market survey study, release that those indulge food, for example, chocolate, for example, ice cream, suddenly there is a little bit spike at the beginning. So because when during the lockdown, people started to feel a bit afraid. So they
Not talking about me, are you?
they went for the indulgence. So they look for ice cream, chocolate, and certain types of those snack. But of course,
Yes.
that kind of like is a good to have. So essential. Toilet roll maybe it's not good. You see all people lining up across the world to get the toilet roll. Okay, I'm joking, but as we know, we realize that those food with carbo, because still it's a staple food. So there are certain type of like convenience food we call like microwave dinner or TV dinner, that kind of ready eat meal. So those are actually quite essential, and it is on the spike because during this lockdown period, people tend to just go and grab those and part of those food. So those ingredients that go into this type of food, so it's actually quite important or essential. And of course, like those non-essential become a little bit like those in the food service type of category type of food. So certain category of drinks, those become less important. So these are the things that we observe as we are the ingredient supplier.
Well, I think people become desperate, so everything becomes essential.
Yes.
Even ice cream and chocolate, especially ice cream and chocolate. Okay, we move on to the next question. Is to Mimi and Jesmund, still about consumerism. How do you view, how do you experience these consumer responses and this before and during or after COVID-19 periods? Is there any different from your consumers? How do they behave, etc.?
I think someone has mentioned about how people are staying home, trying to be a chef now, rather than going out and buy food, which is the more convenient way. So definitely in the food service, things are getting a little bit slow, and because most of our customers are in the food service side, at least for this plant itself. So stocks are definitely moving a bit slower. So our customers are definitely looking to extend their shelf life a little bit. That's why we are conducting a lot of shelf life study right now. Again. So yeah.
And okay, Mimi?
I could say that I am more busy than pre-COVID. I think same like Dr. Wong. I don't know why. Maybe customer have more time at home to asking more about quality requests. So I'm quite my team are quite busy. And however, there are less business opportunities where customers tend to hold off some of their project, and also some customers are looking for like cost saving approach to maintain operational. But sometimes it's not easy for suppliers to have the same approach at the moment.
Okay, so but we are still doing okay, right?
Yeah, I'm still okay.
Consumers still need food. It's just a matter of changing their attitude and belief for a while. They will come back to normal. Okay. All right. So guys, we are now in the category of career. I think this part of a question and answer we going to mostly to everybody. So students, they are now listening and they want to know more about all these aspects of career or job prospects. The first question, as we practice alphabetical order, can you, panels, offer some advices on the qualities of graduates should have for them to be competitive during this unprecedented time? Now, you've been there, you were having you're working in the industry before the pandemic and during pandemics. So what can you advise them in terms of qualities? Jesmund first.
I honestly think different jobs would require different sets of skills and also qualities, and maybe sometimes even personalities. So pre-COVID, post-COVID, honestly, there's not much of a difference. But I would think that a lot of companies would definitely hire for attitude. I mean, when we talk about attitude, it's such a big word, right? So at least for me, I'm not trying to compensate my lack of a good CGPA score back in uni days, but I think that score itself is an entry ticket to where you want to get to, because I think knowledge can be slowly picked up when you're at the job itself. So and knowledge can be picked up in a matter of days or even weeks, but then like attitude and a set of skills, soft skills, interpersonal skills, those kind of stuff, those require a little bit more time. So yeah, that is what I think.
All right, Dr. Razam, I know you have talked about this, but again,
Yeah.
they want to know,
So,
especially for this pandemic period.
Okay, basically, CGPA is a basic requirement. So certain company said that you must have 3 and above CGPA. So that's qualify you to attend the interview, not being accepted as employment yet. So if you are CGPA below than 3.0, I think you have to find other company that does not care about CGPA. But after having CGPA more than 3.0, you must have another skills that required by the company. Or like Darby, like myself, I always ask fresh graduate whether you are willing to learn or not, right? So you have to pick up in the shorter time. So of course, we expect you within 3 or 6 months, you are able to work independently, right? So like Jesmund said, attitude is very important. So your soft skill is also very important. How you communicate with others, how you communicate with your superiors, how you communicate with your subordinate, your colleagues, everybody in the company. So you must able to communicate to everybody in the company, even until the CEO levels. From the cleaner until the CEO levels, you must have communicate good communication skill in order for you to survive in the company, right?
Okay. Mimi, anything you want to add?
I think everyone is talking about good CGPA. So maybe if someone who have less than good CGPA will have like disappointed. So actually, I mean, of course, you have to have a good CGPA, but at the same time, you must have a good soft skill and be confident. And this is really important during interview. And maybe you feel like you don't have that enough soft skills. So in the meantime, maybe you can enroll in the free online courses or find a part-time job or side business to improve your soft skill. Any job will do. So don't lose hope.
So it's not nothing to do with the pandemic at all, yeah?
Yeah,
It's not so much
Nothing to do with
different
pandemics.
between COVID, pre-COVID or COVID-19 situation.
The same thing. How about you, Dr. Wong?
Right. So I guess just now a few of the panel also mentioned about communication. So I would like to further explain this a little bit. So I guess it's very important. So how we carry ourselves, because to communicate effectively also are actually looking at the same goal and how we actually want to collaborate. So all these are some of those skills that actually at this point we may be oversighted. And even for the pre-COVID as well, this is also very important. But more importantly, during COVID time, sometimes because lacking of the face-to-face interaction, it brings even more important on how to effectively communicate. So there are different ways. I mean, of course, for students, actually, probably is quite used to the way of face-to-face interactions. So for us, work in a working environment, sometimes we have to down to email communication, and that might not be ideal. The next level will be phone call, and of course now we have to adapt very quickly to different type of video call. So that when we have the facial interaction, we see each other. So those are the ways to actually communicate even better. And the other thing that I would like to add on would be like being versatile, being adaptable. So being able to accept what came by and then to take on first. So there is an old saying, like for example, you will first ride a donkey or a cow while you are searching for a better horse. So you wanted to grab something first, to move on, to proceed first, while you look for better opportunity. So, and we also see that probably nowadays people would at this point would look like just now what Mimi mentioned, retraining opportunity. So there are a lot of free courses now. You don't even have to pay, but you with all those opportunity to train, even though those training courses may not give you a valid certificate or anything, but somehow if you keep getting all this, you keep learning at one point, it will actually benefit us. So that is something that to be considered.
Thank
I
you.
think I'd like to add on to Dr. Wong as
Please,
well.
please.
Yeah, like because in the academy we're always focusing a lot on IQs, right? But then like in the working space, I think EQ counts definitely way more than IQ because you're constantly communicating with others and collaborating with others in order for things to work, right? So there are actually a lot of things involved. You have to know like what kind of people they are and how you want to communicate, what's their communication preference, and how you're gonna influence them using what are the currency, what matters to them, and how you're going to influence them using their preference. So I think when it comes to EQ, I think this is something that probably the academy can focus a little bit more on rather than knowledge. Or maybe they themselves can develop it somewhere else outside of the academy.
All right. So IQ and EQ.
Yes, so if I may add on a little bit, I realized this is another old story to share. So when I was still in my year one, I remember that. So because I'm not good in mathematics, I still remember. So at that point, I think, so Prof. Azhar, correct me, I think his name is Dr. Abbas, if I remember. So he.
Oh yeah, Abbas, yes.
Yes. So because he only speak English, and I have to communicate with him in English to ask him questions, not just day-to-day communication. I have to ask him questions so that he can teach me how to solve my questions. So it is actually a training for me. I realized that throughout the one whole semester of that time is a 4-unit mathematics and then 4-unit statistics. So you can imagine that a lot of things to learn at that point, but I'm not good, so I have to keep on asking him. So it's actually a training ground for myself. I realized that because the more you keep talking, you keep asking, and then you realize that how that communications and how you build it comes back to your confidence level as well. So because you keep on talking, you realize that it boosts your confidence, and your confidence will actually help you to communicate better. So it's a better cycle that keep on to grow and grow.
Great.
So you need to practice.
Yes.
Practice. So I would like to summarize. The quality of graduates is in independence of the pandemic. Okay. We have a general question from student actually. Now the worry is they are going to be graduating soon. They have no experience, zero experience. So what is the strong selling points as fresh graduates for them to get hired by the industry? Zero experience. What are you looking for? Hey, start with Jesmund. Who knows?
I was just speaking to the HR operation just now. I was asking for her opinion as well. I mean, I was just hired a year ago, so honestly, what she told me was that hiring someone new will actually have the person would definitely have a lot more flexibility in terms of how things work because you're coming in as a clean slate. So basically, they can write whatever they want on you without bending your true values. So the flexibility has to come in definitely, and I guess go back, like I said, go back to attitude as well. So yeah, and also passion. When you work and stuff. Yeah.
Okay, Dr. Razam.
Yeah, having a degree, I think is enough for start a work. Yeah, because during your 4 year studies, the universities is already given you, I think, most of the skill or knowledge to start to work in the industry, right? So in the university, they teach you all general terms. Uh, that's why you have to learn a lot in the universities. But when you enter to the industry, you need to focus into one areas. So the main thing is attitude and also hardworking, willing to learn, willing to work longer time. That all counts, right? So it's up to you actually what you want, right?
All right. Mimi?
I think the other selling point is like whatever you are trying to explain during the interview, just be confident. So I think confident can mask up all the other things. So it's really important for the juniors to brush up your social and soft skill, and make sure that you manage to show your confidence during your interview.
Okay. Dr. Wong.
So I think just now Dr. Razam mentioned what you want. So actually, I guess the most important thing, firstly, is about knowing what we want and what you want to achieve, and to look into maybe 3 years, 5 years. So it might be some of you have already experienced into the interview process, and it is actually kind of normal, general, 3 years, 5 years, that kind of thing. But it is actually important as well, because it boils down to what we actually want. So I can give another example. So for example, for myself, because I know I want to do research, so I am actually looking for opportunity just to get a postgraduate study at that point. So towards the end of my postgraduate study, I've already graduated about 5 years and or almost up to 6 years, and I am actually still zero at that time. So zero in the sense that I don't get a degree yet, I mean a postgraduate degree, and I am actually quite lacking in industrial experience at that moment. And my course mate, my friends that graduated same time with me, they already have 5 years industrial experience. Now, I mean, when people say 5 years, wow, it's like a lot. And some of them already changed job or moved to a better, already having a better career prospect. So we can't compare. Don't compare at that point, but knowing what you want is very important. So that is something that I want to emphasize at this point. And quality. So I guess at this point, even though that they are, I mean, all of you, I mean, juniors, you are still fresh, but you have the industrial experience, the industrial attachment, I believe. So industrial attachment is actually something very important. Combined with final year project, I believe there's also another thing. So these two things, you can look into what you have achieved, not just the tangible. So tangible meaning like, for example, you get a final year thesis, or you get something like with Prof. Azhar, you get something to commercialize. So those are tangible, because within a short period of industrial attachment, final year project, it is difficult to get something tangible, but it is more importantly also to able to carry yourself to discuss with your future employer, to talk about what you learn, what you have throughout the period of time. For example, you have actually worked with different people in the industry, or even during a final year project, you actually work with seniors or the postgraduate student in the same group, and then exchange of ideas, collaborations. So those are the discussion point that it will actually comes together with you. So again, another saying that what you have learned, you will definitely remember. It's just maybe sometimes you didn't have recall it. So it is good to also sit down and then to reflect from time to time, or most importantly, before a career seeking or job seeking process, to list down what are the things that you actually feel that you have achieved. So those are the quality or the selling point that the fresh graduate student can look into.
Thank you, Dr. Wong. Sure, it's a lot of things to do. Summary. Your attitude shows, your confidence shows, your social skill shows, what you want, your desire, your enthusiasm shows, and you must be seen as flexible and eager to learn new things. You must be seen that when the industry see you, they see, wow, I can work with this guy. I can shape him, and he's ready to take anything I tell him to do. Brilliant. All right. So final question is about is for Dr. Razam and Dr. Wong, because these are seniors. How does COVID-19 affect the opportunity of employment or possible job offers in the food industry? Do you think COVID-19 has effect on job opportunity? Dr. Razam first?
Yeah, I think COVID is partly affected. It's not totally, it's only part because it's depend on the situation, market and demands, right? Like palm oil industry, I think last year or last 2 years, the price is not very good because competitive from other oils like soya bean oils and other oils, and also like political influence also like India. I stopped buying from Malaysia because of
Oh dear.
so we are affected. So
Right.
they start buying from Indonesia. So that's type of situations. So basically, COVID is not really affected ours, right?
Okay, Dr. Wong?
So some industry do impose a hiring freeze. So at this point, because whenever a full-time employee FTE has to be factored in, at this point, because it will carry a lot of financial burden or impact. So some industry they are more cautious, so they are considering and they implemented the hiring freeze. But for certain industry, so particular again, healthcare, food and beverage, particularly food, and those are related to functional food or if those food with special ingredients inside, and then which will boost immune or health. So of course, the claim we put aside how to substantial how this industry substantial this claim, but those related industry because they see opportunity or even their revenue is still very much their business is still going very well. So this industry they're still looking for a lot of hiring. So it also depends on when it comes to opportunity. So as just now we have discussed as well. So it looks into how we can boost our experience during this time. How we can actually look into opportunity to enhance ourselves so that we are actually more prepared when new jobs or new careers came across. So it depends on certain industry, and that is again depending. Okay.
Right. So we cannot assume everything is zero opportunity.
Yeah.
When we are called for interview, we must go with positive thinking.
Yes.
I am ready. The industry is ready for me too. Okay. All right. So done with the question. We are now in the stage of summing up. So what I like to do is for every panels to give their final remarks or advices or wishes to the students. You see the list of students there. Again,
Dato, probably we can take a few more questions from the students. Is it okay before we wrap up?
I was asking them question from this note down there.
Oh,
Okay, we can do that too. Okay, to the students, you have any question you can ask now? Maybe they are not there. Hello. Hi guys.
There is
There's one question.
Can
In
you show your face?
in the chat section.
exposed to the industries, more exposed to industries during.
Okay, this is a
academic
question
years.
from Muhammad Aiman. Do you think that students should be more exposed to the industry during their academic years? Pardon me, as my mic is a bit problematic. Okay, so up to the panel. Which one? Whoever want to go first? It's for everybody.
Yeah, for me it's better. Is the longer you have in the industry, intern is better for us lah, because you already know the situations, the culture, the industry, so better adoption, right?
Okay, Wong.
So to me, actually, I still remember. I think I asked Prof Azhar before. and I also asked that time will be my academic advisor, which is Puan Wan. So I asked them before. So myself, I liked academic. So when I'm still in my undergraduate. So when I'm looking at those elective modules, so that time we have only 3 years, so we have some elective module, and then Prof Azhar was asking me to take the design, the thinking. I forgot what is that module.
Design thinking. I mean, HTV 201 is
Yes,
thinking
yes,
skill. Thinking skills.
yes, thinking skill, and then the different thinking hat. So I did not take that one, so I have to be frank. So because I look into other academic related, so like I went into the chemistry school to take the analytical chemistry or all those things. So, but at that point, because I thought I wanted to be totally in academia, so I guess because or at least I was, or all of you are actually industrial technology, so industrialists. So it is important not to lose touch with industry. So even though we are in the academia, we still, when we were in the academia, what we were doing, like what I think everyone knows, like what Prof Azhar having all those entrepreneur type of approach. Ultimately, it has to be applicable to the real life situation. So everything has to be related to the industry. So I guess it is a balance that we want to strike, but also we wanted to not to lose touch to the real situation or the industry in this case.
All right. Thank you. Mimi?
I think I agree with Dr. Razam. The more of the industrial training is the better. I remember my industrial training in secret recipe. So after my industrial training, I understand more of what I learned in university. So, and I think some of the other degree courses, they have like industrial training every semester break. So maybe we can have that for for the students after this. I think when you go for industrial training, you understand more of what you learn. Example, like even though I learned about hazard, but I didn't really understand it. And then after I go for industrial training, then like, oh, this is how it's supposed to be. So I think it's good for the student to have more exposure to the industrial training.
Great. Jesmund?
I think learning how the industry works is one thing, but also knowing what you want is also another thing. I still remember in my internship with Nestle, I was telling Dr. Cheng, who was our advisor for the internship program, right? I was telling her, I think through this experience, I know that I wouldn't want to be in the industry anymore, but I'll still be in the food, something related to food. But look where I am right now. I'm still in the industry.
I'm going to contact your HR now.
But I guess it's a good way of knowing, going where you want to be, and it's still an experience, regardless.
Brilliant. Okay, we have more question coming. Very good. Suhaila Muhammad, I am a third-year student, just completed internship last semester. However, I only managed to complete only 1 month of my internship within the company due to the pandemic. Will that affect me in my job application, since internship is only on-the-job experience a student should have? Well, okay, Dr. Razam, you first.
No, basically it is not affect your job applications, because we just see the internship is only a process. It's not really experience. Yeah.
Great.
So you just going through a process of in the industry. So that's not affect any your job application.
Great. Dr. Wong?
So I guess more importantly is that you have the industrial or internship experience, and highlight because when we look into new application from in any sort of application, highlight your achievement, highlight what you have learned. So those action type of words instead of the period. Of course, we don't hide our period that we have with the company, but it is understandable that because this is a pandemic season period, so it is unavoidable. So look into the achievement or what you have learned throughout that period of time.
Okay, Mimi.
I think my opinion is also the same as Dr. Wong, since the situation is unavoidable. So looking throughout your university years, see what is your achievement, your final project. So it's not all that no need to depend on the industrial training itself.
Right. Great. Jesmund.
I think while I was driving to work one day, I was listening to this BBC World News kind of thing, right? They're actually talking about this as well. So it's not just in Malaysia, it's not just in USM, I think it's in the entire world. And, you know, we can't really do anything about it. So I think that it would be unfair that it would affect your job application, but
Yes.
yeah, we will see how it will turn out.
Yeah, the industry people, they're very, very friendly. They're very understanding. So don't worry about that. Yeah, Suhaila. So there's no question from the student unless they want to ask verbally. No, once, twice, 3 times, no more. Okay, great. So I'm giving panels start from Dr. Razam to sum up. You want to give advice to our final remarks or anything to the student now. Dr. Razam, you start first.
Yeah, I think when you attend the interview, you must be prepared. Yeah. If you want to come to Syamimi, at least you know about Syamimi first. What Syamimi is doing, what is the main business of Syamimi. Then secondly is your attitude. Like Wong said, you must explain detail on your experience, the process that you learn during your internship, during your final year project, during your study, how you're working with your friends, team buildings and so on. So I think 50-50 now about soft skill and also your academic. So it's very important to be prepared before you going into the interview. Right?
That is new, Dr. Razam, 50-50. That is new. Even in the food technology program now, we are teaching persuasive oral presentation. 2 units.
So
Next,
influence the interviewer.
I'm going to teach this course.
Yeah.
All right, Dr. Wong, you're next. Say something.
Right. So I guess being flexible and being adaptable. So these are very important. And of course, I mean, a good result, it just open up a door. But ultimately, if you do not have a very good result, not to worry as well, as I mentioned. So I believe a few of the panel also experienced that. So just hop on to a first job that you can get first, because the moment when you're starting something, you already accumulating the experience. So that's better than you keep on looking and keep on trying to change. And at the period, I mean currently or even before this pandemic season, so it is more important not to keep on changing job at the beginning, but trying to learn a little bit first, at least for a good 2 to 3 years. Then only with that first experiences will help you to secure a better job subsequently. And not to be too eager or too anxious. Yeah, the right word is anxious. But also it is good to look into good thing that will come out from the job that you are looking for. So I mean, because when we are more prepared in the future, of course, then the good opportunity will definitely strike. And also to have a plan B. So plan B is also, when we talk about plan B, is also important. So look into other alternative or any things that, I mean, besides learn some new skills, but also any other ways, for example, like entrepreneurship. So entrepreneurship is a little bit less, I'm not sure in TI, I do not know how much it is cultivated, because it's not easy. It's not something easy, but it is also something at this. Now in 2020, a lot of those digital era, a lot of things can happen within. Related to entrepreneurship. People start new apps. People started to roll out something online, and these are also something that if you have the courage, you have a plan, you may want to try out. So I'm not saying that I'm very good at this. No, I'm not. But you can see that there are a lot of people who success in this area. It could also brings you a next level of experiences. So with that experiences, it will definitely, you don't have to definitely do it forever if you realize that there are certain challenges, because we know things change, everything. Change is the only constant, we say that. So you can actually try out if you feel that that is something that you are comfortable with. So this is another plan that, as I mentioned, always have a plan B.
Thank you, Dr. Wong. Mimi, any last word from you?
Okay, so my advice is based on my personal experience, and I don't want my junior to do the same mistake. So don't be too choosy in applying or accepting jobs, because you are as a fresh graduate, so don't limit yourself. And although the job is not what you are expecting, like my first job is like 4.5 months contract only. So, but you needed to start somewhere. So, and also when you have a job, don't give up easily and resign like few days or like 1 month when things get tough. It will be a challenging environment. So toughen up and just bear in mind that you need to start somewhere and you need the experience. And do not envy your friends' achievement. You do you and give your best and good attitude, and it goes a long way. I think that's all for me.
Thank you, Mimi. I will remember that. And Jesmund, what do you say?
I think a lot have been said, but I'm gonna speak as a millennial to millennials as well, which is a year different. I've written quite a list as well, but I would think the first thing is to definitely take time to explore. It does not really matter if you don't know what to do right now, or if you just want to play and stay at home while you're exploring. I think it's okay if you don't end up in the food industry. Just do whatever that makes you happy, because I believe that happiness is the ultimate success. And when you're applying for jobs, honestly, don't always think about what you can give to the company, but also think about what I think also matters a lot, or what you can take away from the company. And because I think Dr. Razam or maybe Dr. Wong, they would know that they would also recognize that us millennials, we under their management, we are also a learning curve for them. So you have to take that into consideration as well. Another thing with us as millennial is that we have very high expectation towards a lot of things in our lives, which is definitely not our fault. I think it's definitely in the fault of the other, or in the world that cannot keep up with our expectation. But honestly speaking, I think it hurts and it damages ourselves a lot when we focus so much on the world, on changing the world. But I think it would definitely be healthier for us. We can focus on how we think, on changing ourselves first. And definitely last but not least, I think it's always best to know your end goal, because life right now is very volatile, very unpredictable, and it's always constantly changing. But for as long as you know where your end goal is, no matter what life throws or even tosses you around, you'll still know how to get back to where you want to be.
Thank you, Jesmund. So I believe this is the end. We have great panels today. I think the students are giving you a round of applause. You may not hear it, but they are clapping. There will be no souvenir presentations. But I believe Professor Fazila, as a program chairperson, would like to say a word or two. Prof. Fazila?
Okay. Thank you, Dato. Okay. Assalamualaikum and good morning to all. But a relief, actually. I'm glad I'm glad and thankful for everyone that actually this event went on very smoothly. And I think I would like to take this opportunity to express my biggest thanks to everyone that involved in this first FGD USM Career Dialogue. And this especially goes to our panelists. Dr. Razam, thank you very much for accepting this request by sharing your experiences. I think 30 years experiences, Dr. Razam?
Yes.
Huge experiences that the students can learn from that. And also Dr. Razam as our ICAP member, and Dr. Wong all the way from Singapore. Actually, Wong has been volunteered to give talk to our student previously, but it was due to certain things, right? So we cannot make it. So finally, I can see you face to face now, and I'm glad that you have shared your 15 years of experience in the industries as well as the your experience during your students' time, so that the students, your junior, can really relate to your experiences. To Mimi, also for sharing your experiences. How long you have been in industry, Mimi?
I think more than 5 years.
Oh, that's great, and I can see that a lot of huge improvement in you, and I'm glad that to see our alumni actually doing very well. And
Thank
also, and also for positively accept my request even at the last minute to join this program. So it actually, Mimi was like, okay, no problem, I can join. So thank you so much for that. And to our youngest panelist, Jesmund.
Our baby.
I presume, Jesmund, you're gonna have a very bright future ahead of you with your positive attitude, your charismatic personality. I'm sure you will be doing very well. And in the next 10 years, probably will be somebody in this food industry, yeah, Jesmund? And of course, last but not least, to our moderator of the day, Professor Dr. Azhar, that with his personal character, you all know him, right? The alumni.
Yes.
So he has made this event very livelier. And I think to all the participants as well, thank you so much. I can see about 100 over participants attending our program this time. So thank you everyone for your support. Thank you, Dato.
All right, thank you, Professor Fazila. So with that, we're going to end the forum.
Yeah.
Again, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum and good morning and take care and Selamat Hari Raya Aidil Adha.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. So we can switch off now. Okay, you can wave. Okay, bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you.
Meeting now.
By the way, we are actually recording this event, so you probably will see it again in our Facebook, PPTI Facebook online, Facebook Live actually. So you can see back your recording of this later on. All right. Thank you so much, everyone.
Okay, thank you. Okay, guys, thank you. So take care. Bye.
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 Goodbye.
Leave meeting, ma'am. Bye.